Hi there, humans. Welcome to Trigger Point Yin. My name is Meg, and I'll be leading you through your practice. Today we're going to talk about the rhomboids. These muscles hook into the inside of the shoulder blade. There is a minor, which is the upper one, and the major, which is the lower one. And these muscles stabilize the scapula, and they help pull the shoulder blades, the scapula together on your back. And then they also help to adduct the arm just a little bit, pretty much just from arm straight overhead to arm at shoulder height. So they also do that. So another thing that tightness in the adductors, besides pain between the shoulder blades, can cause is a cracking in the scapula or a grinding. So I don't know if you can hear this, but that's what my shoulder blade sounds like. And that is from years of being on swim team. So there is some grinding in my shoulder blades from tightness in between them, and a lot of that can be caused by rhomboid tightness. So we're going to get into that. And we're just going to do we're going to do 2 points of trigger point and then one yin posture. So let's get right into it. We're going to need a lacrosse ball, and it can be helpful to have a blanket for this one just to pad underneath your chest. Not necessary, but maybe keep one handy in case you decide you want it. So the first point, we're going to get into the minor, the upper rhomboid, and that is going to be just to the inside of the upper corner of the shoulder blade, slightly below where the levator attaches. So levator is going to attach right at that top point of the inside of the shoulder blade. So if you reach over your shoulder and you feel the shoulder blade, it's actually easier to do with the opposite hand. So if you follow the top edge of the shoulder blade until it curls down, that top corner is where the levator attaches, and I've already done a video on that one. So just slightly below that, maybe 1 or 2 fingers below that, is where we're going to be for this first rhomboid attachment. And then the rest of them are in the same line, so along that internal edge of the shoulder blade. So we're going to start with that upper point, and then we're going to move down about 1 inch for another point, and down about another inch for the last point in the 2 rhomboid major points. All right, so I am going to demo my right side, and I find it easier to just put the lacrosse ball down on the mat, generally in the right spot, and then come onto your back and roll around until you feel the lacrosse ball in the right spot. And you can, of course, reach back there and make sure that it's up against the shoulder blade, check out if it's in the right spot. But you'll also feel it. There should be a good amount of sensation once you get there. So snuggle it in right next to the shoulder blade. And then, just like for the levator, you'll get some movement in your arm. Maybe reach your arm overhead or out to the side, down by your hip. Ooh, down by my hip is a lot of sensation today. And see where you get a good amount of sensation, then you can rest your arm there. So as you can see, I've grabbed my bolster and I'm resting my arm on it because it seems like there's more sensation for me when my arm is lifted a little bit, but you don't want to hold your arm up. You want your arm to be fully relaxed so you can be as passive as possible. And then you can either let your legs lay long, you can bring your feet together and your knees wide. That's feeling a little bit better for me today. And then hang out. So the referral pattern for this one is going to be along the inner edge of the shoulder blade and along the upper edge of the shoulder blade. So that's where you tend to feel it. Because you're also on top of trap and you might be getting a little bit into levator if you're up a little bit high, you may also be feeling this up the back of your neck, maybe into your head a little bit. So that's all completely normal. You're still in the right spot. You may want to roll it down just a little bit to get more into the rhomboid. Make sure that you're breathing. Make sure that you are fully expanding your rib cage, fully expanding your belly, that your body is able to relax here. Slow everything down. Allow yourself to tune into the sensation that you're experiencing. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's a lot, know that you can stay with it using your breath. So watch your breath come in and out. Make an effort to fully expand your lungs to make your breath a stretch. And then fully press out all of the stale air. I also recently made a video on 5 techniques of relaxation, 5 different things that I use to relax, things that I teach people how to relax. So you can check out that video. If it's really hard for you to sit still through these videos, if it's really hard for you to stay with the exercise, that might be a good video for you to watch just to be able to self-soothe and regulate your nervous system and be able to stay with it for enough time for you to actually get a release. Because sitting still is hard for most people. It's hard for a lot of people. We're not trained to sit still. We're trained to always be engaged and doing something. And if we are sitting still, we might be watching TV or being entertained in some other way. So sitting still with just uncomfortable sensation to occupy your mind is a big ask, and it's something that you need to practice doing to be able to do it. So whenever you're ready, whenever you have gone from a lot of sensation to no sensation, or something has changed for you, you can just roll yourself in the direction of your head. So the lacrosse ball moves down about 1 inch, and then same thing, you'll get some movement in your arm. See how it feels, see where your arm should rest. Ooh, this is definitely where my arm should rest. So I'm gonna move my bolster up so that my arm can rest more in a cactus shape out to the side of my body. And I'm gonna hang out here. And you can stay as long as you like. The more that you practice trigger point in general, I find that it becomes easier to let go. Your brain starts to associate the sensation of trigger point with relaxation rather than with being uncomfortable. So you can let go of those muscles faster, right? You get the reward part faster. You don't have to sit as long in the discomfort part of it. And then the last point, you'll do the same thing. Whenever you're ready, whenever you have gotten a release of some sort, you can, again, roll yourself in the direction of your head about 1 inch. And then same thing, get some movement in your arm. Ooh, across my body is a lot. Yeah, and then do some movement in your arm. Figure out where you want your arm to rest and let it rest there until, again, you get a release. And a release can be sensation dissipating in some way. It can be a softening of the muscles, so feeling the lacrosse ball sink in deeper. It can also be an emotional release, so feeling something emotional let go from you, for you. So if you suddenly feel giddy, like you want to giggle, if you suddenly feel sad, like you need to cry, if you suddenly feel angry, that's an emotional release. So something has happened, something has let go, and then you can take some deep breaths to move through that, and then it's probably time to release the exercise. So once you're done with that last point, you can roll off of your lacrosse ball, set it aside, and you're going to come over onto your belly for the yin part. And I'm going to do 2 different examples. So you can start in Sphinx pose with your elbows on the mat And then I was doing my right side, so I'm going to take my right arm and walk it underneath the left, and then take my left arm and walk it over to the right. So my arms are fully crossed. I'm crossing them as much as possible. Also gonna just put this right here. Okay, so arms are as crossed as possible. And then I'm gonna rest my chin down on my arm. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. And you can experiment with having the arms a little bit more in line with your neck. You can also scoot your body forward and have them more underneath your sternum. Maybe your forehead is on the ground. And then the other version that I wanted to show is same thing, but in more of a child's pose shape. So coming onto your shins, sinking your hips back to your heels, knees are separated so your belly can go in between your thighs. And then again, walk the right arm underneath the left. Left arm walks over to the right, arms are fully crossed, chin rests down on your arm, maybe forehead on the ground. And what that looks like from the front. Got a nice pop in my left shoulder. And you'll keep breathing into this, making sure your hips are fully relaxed, allowing your weight to sink down over your arms, allowing your neck to be relaxed, taking the tension out of your face. When you're ready to come out of it, you can walk your arms out in front of you. If you're in the child's pose variation, rest here in child's pose for a couple of breaths. If you're in the fully laying down variation, you can roll out of it, come onto your back, and relax there for a minute. Maybe have your arms overhead if that feels better. And then you can take the other side. So again, laying down on your back, having that lacrosse ball right to the inside of your shoulder blade. And you'll get 3 different points by rolling in the direction of your head. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed that exercise. Let me know if you have any questions, and until next time, I hope you can let something go.